In the division problem, 15 divided by 3 equals 5. 15 is considered my dividend. It is being split into 3 equal groups, and 3 is considered my divisor. When I split my dividend of 15 into 3 equal groups, I get a quotient or a solution for a division problem of 5. Division problems can be written in several ways. You will also see them written as fractions. In this case, 15 over 3 still says 15 divided by 3. In this case, it looks like my 3 comes first, but in a long division problem, when you have a long division symbol, your dividend will still go inside. So you would read this problem as 15 divided by 3 equals 5. Let's look at the problem 612 divided by 4. If I want to solve this using long division, I'm going to start by writing my dividend of 612. I'm going to place my dividend inside of the long division symbol. And I'm going to put my divisor of 4 on the outside. I'm going to divide every digit in my dividend by my divisor of 4. So I'll start with 6. If I do 6 divided by 4, I know that if I do 4 one time, I'm left with 4. But if I do 4 two times, I have 8. But that's larger than 6. So I'm going to use 1 here. And because I'm looking at 6, I'm placing the 1 above the 6. I need to know what I'm left with, though. So I'll do 1 times 4, which gives me 4. And I will subtract my 4 from 6 to give me 2. Now I need to look at the next digit in my dividend, which is 1. I'm going to bring that down so I have 21. And now I'm going to ask, what is 21 divided by 4? Well, I know that if I do 21 divided by 4, I'll have 5 whole pieces. And if I do 5 times 4, I get 20. So to figure out what I have left, I'll do 5 times 4 to get 20, and I will subtract from my 21. When I do 21 minus 20, I'm left with 1. And now I still have this 2 in my dividend, so I'm going to bring that down next. Now I'm going to ask, what is 12 divided by 4? I know that if I do 12 divided by 4, I get 3. I'm going to check this by doing 3 times 4 to get 12, and when I subtract 12 minus 12, I get a remainder of 0. So 612 divided by 4 will give me a quotient of 153. This problem is 5,148 divided by 12. Again, I'm going to start with my dividend, which is 5,148, and I'm going to write that inside of my long division symbol. My divisor of 12 will go on the outside. Now I'm going to divide every digit in my dividend by my divisor of 12. If I start with 5, I know that 5 cannot be divided by 12 because 12 is larger than 5. So because of that, I'm going to actually go to 1 and I'm going to look at 51. That is larger than 12, so I know that 12 will go into that. If I ask what is 51 divided by 12, I know that that's 4. I'm going to place the 4 above the 1 instead of above the 5 because I was looking at how many times 12 would go into 51. Now again, I'm going to multiply. So 4 times 12 gives me 48. Then I will subtract to see what I'm left with. 51 minus 48 leaves me with 3. I'm going to go to the next digit in my dividend, which is 4, and I'm going to bring it down. Now I have 34, and I'm going to ask, what is 34 divided by 12? I know that 34 divided by 12 is 2. And when I do 2 times 12, I get 24. So I'm going to see what I'm left with by subtracting 24 from 34. When I do 34 minus 24, I'm left with 10. Now I still have 8 in my dividend, which I need to drop down. And now I have 108 divided by 12. When I do 108 divided by 12, I get 9. And I can check this by doing 9 times 12, which gives me 108. And when I subtract, I'm left with a remainder of 0. So 5,148 divided by 12 leaves me with a quotient of 429. Now this problem says 388 divided by 16. So I have a dividend of 388, which I'm going to divide by the divisor of 16. Now when I look at this problem, it does say find the whole number quotient and the remainder. If there is a remainder, that means that 16 will not evenly go into 388, and we will have some left over. So let's see what we get. I'm going to start with 3, but I know that 3 is smaller than 16, so it cannot be divided into 16 pieces. So instead, I'm going to go to 38. 38 is larger than 16, so I can divide 38 by 16. And I know that 38 divided by 16 is 2. So again, I put the 2 over the 8 since I was looking at 38 instead of over the 3. I'm going to multiply 2 times 16, which gives me 32. So I will subtract 32 from 38. And when I subtract 32 from 38, I get 6. Now, I know that I need to bring my 8 down. So now I'm looking at what is 68 divided by 16. Well, I know that if I do 4 times 16, I get 64. So I know that 16 will go into 68 4 times. 4 times 16, again, gives me 64. And when I subtract 68 minus 64, I'm left with 4. But what I notice is that there is nothing left in my dividend to bring down. That means that I have a remainder of 4. So if I take 388 and divide it into 16 equal groups, each group will have 24 in it, but there will be 4 remaining leftovers. Now let's look at this problem. This says 660 divided by 24. So again, my 660 will go inside the long division symbol, and 24 will go outside. If I look at this problem, it says find the quotient without a remainder. So if this doesn't go in wholly, then we need to find out what are the parts of it that will. So if I look at 6, I know that 24 will not go into 6 because that is too large. So let's look at 66. When I look at 66 and divide by 24, I know that I will get 2 pieces of 24. So I will put that above the second 6, and then I will multiply. 2 times 24, which gives me 48. Now I'm going to subtract. When I subtract 66 minus 48, I get 18. I need to look at my next digit in my dividend, which is 0, and now I'm going to bring down this 0. So now I need to do 180 divided by 24. Well, I know that that will go in 7 times, and if I do 7 times 24, I get 168. Now I need to subtract to see what I'm left with. When I do 180 minus 168, I get a remainder of 12. There is nothing left for me to bring down, so that means there would be a remainder of 12. However, the direction said find the quotient without a remainder. Well, I know that what I can do at this point is I can add a 0 to my dividend. And if I add a 0 to my dividend, then I'm going to come up to my quotient and add another decimal. So if I add a decimal, I can add a 0 behind it because I am not changing the value of 660. 660.0 is the same as 660. I'm going to now bring this 0 down, and now I'm going to divide 120 by 24. When I do 120 divided by 24, I get 5. And then I'm going to multiply. 5 times 24 gives me 120. So now I'm left with 0, which means that 660, if split into 24 equal groups, will have 27.5 pieces in each group.